Hello everyone, my name is Steven Steele and welcome back to World of Tanks. Today we'll be doing a review of the Panther 88, the tier 8 German premium medium tank. Whether or not it's worth buying, as with all premiums, I'll give my opinion on it, but it's a bit tougher with this tank to wonder whether or not it is to answer that question. But I'll try to do so and I'll give you all the information you need to make your own decisions properly. So, the armor, to start off the review with, the armor definitely isn't the reason to get this tank. Upper plate's 80 armor, which is actually 5mm less than the Panther itself gets, which is kinda silly considering this is a Panther with a better gun on it, but yeah. The Panther's a tier 7 tank, so you get tier 7 armor, and even at tier 7 the Panther doesn't really have a lot of armor, so you can see these values here, they're never really gonna exceed 150, even in ridiculous angles. This is still 145, and you're gonna get penetrated all day. You do have 50 side armor, so you can side scrape, and you can do that reasonably effectively. You get an extra plate of side spaced armor, which does not really do too much either, but it shields you a bit from RT splash or damage, I guess. Looking at the turret is 120 on the front. The turret was made in Minecraft, or since it's German, rather Minecraft. We all know that the front of this turret is complete paper. 120 armor, nothing's gonna ever bounce on that, especially not at this tier. The gun mantlet is alright in some places and poor in other places. You can't really rely on it, but it definitely does bounce some shots here and there. The best part about the turret is probably these cheeks. 60mm of armor, it's not a lot, but when you face somebody directly, or almost face him, this is all auto bounce, as you can see. And same time here, it's all bounce, except for this little thingy here. It can get penetrated right here, but it's quite uncommon. So yeah, this is auto bounce. So for all these Panther and E50 turrets, it goes that these cheeks are bounce. So people might actually troll bounce if they hit your gun mantlet or these cheeks. But anywhere on this flat surface and you're gonna get penetrated all day. And of course your hull is shit, so don't expect to do much with that. Your Cupola is 120, again you're gonna get penned most of the time. Maybe in some troll angles you won't, but don't rely on it. Looking at the gun depressions, 5 degrees to the front and 7 to the side. 5 degrees is pretty poor, as you can see when I pointed the gun down here. It's not really good at all, but when you look more to your side you can actually see that the gun depression gets a little bit better. Still isn't very good, but you shouldn't really play Panthers for the great gun depression and armor and stuff like that. Elevation is 13 all around, which is also not very good, and gun depression to the back is 4, which is also pretty bad. With that said, I think we've had most of the stats, or all the armor and stuff done, so let's get into the replay. Alright, so here's the game, playing on Cliff, a tier 9 game. Both teams have 1 RD, which is a bit unfortunate. On Cliff, it's not that great of a map for Cliff, or for RD I mean, but hey, whatever, you can't really help it I guess. So first of all, let's get to some more stats. 1500 hit points, standard for a Panther at tier 8. Panther 2 gets 1500 as well. You get top speed forward of 46, backwards 20. Horsepower per ton ratio is 13 and engine power is 600, which is actually not very good. And the only reason this tank still does alright in terms of mobility is the fact that the terrain resistances are insanely good, so the tank actually gets a bit faster than you would expect. But still it is sluggish. It's slightly faster than a tank like an IS-3, which is a faster heavy, so it's not like terrible. And as you can see, it moves around alright, but still, this is not a fast medium. This is not comparable to the AMX Croissant like I reviewed before. Anyway, traverse speed 38, which is alright, and turret traverse 32, which is also alright. And now let's get to the important stuff. Let's get to the gun. So, standard Russian, or not Russian, a German 88mm gun. It's like the On the Tiger ones, same gun. You get 240 alpha damage, you get 203 penetration, which is alright. Penetration on this is not epic, but it gets the job done. Rate of fire 8.7, which is one of the main strengths of this tank. Its rate of fire is really nice. And of course the stats on the aiming are also really nice, because it's a German vehicle. It has 0.32 accuracy, which I didn't really use too well there with my terrible shot, and 2.5 aiming time, which is not great, but the aiming time is a bit better than you would expect, because the tank is slow as shit. So yeah, you're not really gonna make the aiming circle go ham like you would do on a light or another medium. And this shot was a bit unfortunate. I got rammed by the guy next to me there before I shot, so I missed out on the extra damage. So to sum it up, you have one of the best gun performances at tier 8 and a really questionable platform on top of that, with the gun mounted on it really. There's the turret cheek, by the way, with the auto bounce. That kinda does save you sometimes, surprisingly. But yeah, the gun performance is really why you would even play this tank, and honestly, the thing with premiums, they're usually good at like one thing or a few things, but they're not like amazing all-round tanks generally. And even though this tank might seem clunky as hell, and even though I can understand people not liking the Panthers in general, having your main strength be the gun actually gives you a surprisingly reasonable vehicle. And as you can see here, like, the snapshotting potential of this gun is actually kind of decent. So saying that this is a terrible premium is just not true. It's not terrible. Maybe it's not like epic. Some people will not like this, and it generally isn't an amazing vehicle. But saying that it's bad when it has this type of gun performance, it just isn't the case. Like, this would still outclass a Super Pershing or an STA2 in my opinion. But yeah, whatever, let's get to this tier 9 heavy. Let's start farming him too. My ally in the E50 right in front of me, which is the tier 9 of the Panther line, actually gets blown away. So yeah, nice job to enemy RT. Nice, man. Good clicking. So to sum it up, this tank is basically a mediocre platform with a really good gun mounted on it, and if that is worth the gold or not, that is kind of up to you. I didn't like the tank at first, I must admit. It's not an easy tank to play. You have to be in the mindset that everybody is gonna pen you, you're huge, and you have bad camouflage, and you have no armor. You have a lot of hit points, but the problem with this tank is that it doesn't only take hit point damage, it actually also takes engine damage and ammo rack damage frontally. Like you will see here, my engine actually dies here, so I have to fix it. So this tank tends to be really mediocre in close range. You are just gonna get wrecked by enemies, not just in hit points but also in modules. So you have to be the support, you have to sit at mid to long range, use the accuracy and use the rate of fire. Get this gun singing, and if you can keep the gun singing, this is one of the best premiums. And if you have no idea on how to do that effectively, this is probably one of the worst. But yeah, for equipment, I would run gun rammer, vertical stabilizer, and either coated optics or ventilation. You can make an argument for both. I actually have ventilation because I prefer the gun performance, but fair enough, coated optics can also be really useful. And since you have bad camo, having a good view range can kind of counteract that. So I can see why people would do that. And other than that, as I said, the playstyle is just a support. You cannot play as the most aggressive player, you just can't. But as you can see, these longer range shots, even on the tier 9 heavy tank, the Conqueror, are going completely the way I want them. And there are not many tier 8 premiums that can go ham on tier 9 heavies like I did this game. And you can see the excellent rate of fire also helping me out here with this extra damage I'm pulling off. In terms of crew, skills, screw camouflage, go for brothers in arms, repairs, 6th sense, smooth right, snapshot, and situational awareness. Pretty standard stuff there. So here are the end plates of that game. 2013 experience with the premium account. Ace Tanker, Confederate, which is like the nicest team player medal. 3526 damage. Which is not a lot, but at the same time you have to understand it's a tier 9 game and we did it in a few minutes. It was a pretty short game, so to be fair, it really did show the potential of the gun in those type of situations, and we made a very decent profit as well out of it. So yeah, not too shabby, huh? So now for the final verdict on the Panther 88, is it worth paying the gold? Well, 7,300 gold as the cost, it is kind of worth it. It is not the easiest buy to recommend ever, because as you saw, the tank does have its silly weaknesses, but to be fair, like, when you get the gun working, when you make the tank work, when you know how to do that, the tank is reasonably good. And the only issue is that you don't really get preferential matchmaking, so tier 10s will be difficult to deal with, but you can see how the tank does have its potential and how it really isn't that bad of a vehicle. So is it worth the gold? Well, yes it is. Why not? Let's say yes. It kinda is. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. Hope you will leave a like for me or sub to the channel maybe for more of these videos. I have more premium reviews, so if you want to see those, go ahead and check those out. And I hope to see you all next time.